So my father and his wife are unable to have children together. He has me, a teen male, from his marriage to my mom, which ended because he cheated on her with his now wife. The affair was discovered when I was 7 and my mom left him immediately. I split time with both of them, unfortunately, which meant I was around my father and his wife a lot, and she tried to be a second mom to me, which I think was crappy after she knowingly slept with a married man. She was dating his best friend at the time too. My mom died when I was 12. Then I had to live with my father and his wife and had no escape from them. They tried to make me forgive them and let go of what happened, and they did a bunch of therapy with me, but I always told him I would stop speaking to him when I turned 18. They found out 3 years ago that they couldn't have kids together, and almost 2 years ago they started the process of adopting a baby from foster care. During the process I was interviewed. This was in February of this year. I was asked questions about my relationship with my parents, which I corrected, and told them she was not my parent, and he was only because of blood. Then I was asked how I would feel about a sibling, and I told them I would have nothing to do with one, and was planning to move and never speak to my father again once I turned 18. The social worker looked quite alarmed by that. She asked me about my father's family, and I said they disowned him after he cheated, and so did all of his friends. Soon after the interviews were done, they were rejected and told they couldn't provide a suitable environment for a child. My father's wife fell apart. I heard her say my mum must have been cursing her from beyond the grave. She's religious and believes people can send good or bad luck from beyond the grave. She's still not over the news, and a few weeks ago my father told me I should take pity on her and at least be friendly to her. I asked why I'd do that, and he said her dream of motherhood was over. I told him I didn't care. He asked me if I had something to do with that. I shrugged. He then went off on me, saying it was cruel to punish them this long. He said they could have given a child so much love, and it was wrong to say things that got in the way. She sobbed for a week when he told her. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You were asked questions and you answered them honestly. As long as there were no lies, then you did nothing wrong. It amazes me the number of people that break up a home, move in, marry an affair partner, and they are all shocked Pikachu face that their kids aren't happy about it and resent the parent for it. Curious, what religion supports a belief in ghosts and sleeping with married people? I said the same. I was 25 at the time about my parents and they were still able to adopt. The lady told me, we look at the current home environment and as long as you were fed, clothed and had a room with a bed, we'll move forward with adoption. And added, one upset child doesn't change our minds. Most adoptions go through as long as the house is clean, finances stable and there are no prior convictions for violence or neglect, animal handling, hoarding, etc. There were probably some red flags in other aspects that you were unaware of. Also, sorry about your mother. In all seriousness, I do not believe your interview is why their application was denied, given the high rate of children that need homes. Regarding the cheating, they say you lose them the way you got them. Your biological father's current wife is in for a big surprise when he cheats again. And it has nothing to do with beyond the grave. Your sperm donor and his former idiot effed around and got found out. Not your problem. Did the cheaters really think they would have happily ever after? Everyone's the idiot here. Opie, you don't need to stick around to play Big Brother. You could have let them have this baby, especially since you plan to leave in 2 years and have no contact with them. You're holding on to a lot of resentment, and you scuppered your stepmother's chances of being a parent. However, their conduct in the past has been poor. People cheat. It's not abuse or illegal, and not indicative of what can make a good parent. They may have been good parents to this child. Get some therapy, or life will be very difficult. I'm a housewife now. I was a stay-at-home mom when my kids were young, and now that everyone's out of the home, I'm a housewife. The moment I met Beth, 25 female, she had a problem with me. The first time I met her, I told her I was a homemaker and she told me that's not a job and it's lazy of me. I met her 30 minutes before that. It comes up all the damn time. They come over for dinner and I mention I'm tired and she'll tell me I don't work, so how am I tired? I've talked to her and my son before. My husband and I have concluded that she's jealous. It's the only thing that makes sense at this point. I told her if it happened again I would ask her to leave and the comments stopped for a bit. They were over for a dinner party and I was talking about how I made the pie for tonight. Beth commented that of course I had enough time since I didn't work. I had enough and told her I had enough. I get that she's jealous of me since she has to work, but she needs to get out and she's not welcome back. My son and she called me a jerk for kicking them out. Am I the idiot for telling my daughter-in-law that she isn't welcome in my home due to her jealousy about me being a housewife? Edit. Not working doesn't equal laziness. I'm not loafing around the house all day. I get up, do all the chores, take care of all the paperwork, go to the gym, take the dogs out, make homemade meals every day, volunteer and so on. Lazy would be chilling in front of the TV all day. I get wanting to have your career and not rely on a partner, but it's really weird for her to keep pushing her opinions on you like this. Not the idiot, obviously, but stories like this fascinate me as I can't fathom having the cheek to keep doing something like this, especially with my mother-in-law. OP, why didn't you put the gobby cow in her place the first time she said it? Gobby cow is the best insult I've heard in a long time. In all seriousness, this is an issue your son needs to address with his wife. It's childish and immature and he should be the one to deal with her attitude. You do not have to put up with being insulted or treated poorly, especially in your own home. Being a stay-at-home mom or dad is a hard job. Housewife, on the other hand? I'm sorry, but no. Just no. It's none of daughter-in-law's business and she should keep her mouth shut. But being a housewife or house husband is so much easier than a career job. It's not even funny. Furlough during the global issue was a dream. Started at 9 AM and was done before 11, including most of the prep for dinner. I give my left nut to go back to being a house husband instead of the breadwinner. My husband, 35, and I, 30 female, are married with 2 amazing toddler sons. He's an amazing husband and father, we're equally involved in childcare, and he's more the primary caregiver than I am, until recently at least. 9 months ago, our lives were turned upside down when his ex contacted him and told him he had a tween daughter. He was absolutely devastated to find out that he had a daughter he'd never known about. Like it crushed him. He and his ex had a very toxic relationship and a really rough breakup, and until recently, he told her daughter and her family and friends that my husband had abandoned her upon learning she was pregnant. Being a father is the thing he values most and is something he'd always deeply wanted. And there's no scenario where he would have done that, and he's livid. His daughter is also furious with her mom, and for good reason. Since then, we've gotten very involved in her life. At first, it started with visits after the paternity test, phone calls, then her staying a few weekends until my husband officially asked for custody and his ex gave us 50-50. It was finalized a month ago. I think honestly she'd give us more if she could. I'm pretty sure she reached out to us because her mom passed away and her dad had dementia and she needed someone to raise her daughter since, from the sounds of it, her parents were just doing it. My stepdaughter is an incredibly sweet and lovely girl who is amazing with her little brothers. Still, she is very emotional, needy and struggling at school, which is incredibly understandable. My husband is going above and beyond to try and take care of her in every possible way. They've gotten extremely close extremely fast. I know that both of them are struggling with that lost time and are overcompensating and trying to make up for it, but it's affected his parenting of our sons. He spends far more time on and with her, and I've had to pick up a ton of the slack in childcare, and the boys are starting to notice and ask about it. When it's our weeks, they spend a ton of time with just the 2 of them going out and doing things. Our eldest son cried last time because he felt excluded, and my husband did feel bad and promised we'd do more as a whole family. But even on the weeks when we don't have her, he will drop everything to FaceTime her. I'm trying to be understanding, but it's been a lot. And last night, when he went to FaceTime her and asked me to do bedtime instead, I told him he couldn't just neglect our sons because he has a long-lost daughter. He blew up at me, telling me I wasn't being fair and it's not like it's going to be like this forever, but right now, he needs to show he's there for her, and I need to just cut him some slack. He basically never gets angry and has since apologized for yelling, but not for what he said, and has been pretty cold. I do feel pretty bad for telling him he was neglecting the boys, since I know he feels a ton of guilt for not being there for her, even though it's not his fault, and I think that's likely where the blow-up came from. I just can't decide if I'm being an idiot for being irritated at him. So, am I the idiot? I think this is a tough situation. He can't make up for those years. They aren't even years where he was inattentive. He literally didn't even know she existed. That's pretty serious. The ex is definitely the idiot in this situation. He and his daughter need to get to know each other. He should FaceTime her when she's at her mom's. They should be doing activities together, just the 2 of them. That said, he shouldn't be neglecting his sons or having them take the back seat. They also should get to know their sister. So there should be family time and family outings when she's there, and when she's not, he needs to give the son special time too, together and or separately, to make sure they know they aren't getting replaced. It's a rough situation that just requires patience, finesse, and lots of love. Yeah, but he is trying to make up for lost time, and unfortunately, because he's been very involved with his daughter, they will notice the change, and they will remember that Daddy stopped paying attention to them when a new sister showed up. Unfortunately, he had to play his cards right to be fair to all his kids. Not the idiot. OP, tell your husband it was your kids who complained. You're simply letting him know of the problem. He's setting himself up to have a messed up relationship with all 3 kids. The boys will continue to feel abandoned and neglected by their sudden sister and grow resentful. If he responds by trying to back up on the sister and refocus on the boys, the girl will feel abandoned as she's no longer getting the attention she's been used to since Dad became a part of her life, leading to resentment. Your husband is going to destroy all of his relationships. There is so much to navigate here. I, 28 female, am getting married in a few months, and I'm having a fairly formal indoor wedding ceremony and reception. My friend, Lisa, 26 female, has a dog named Max that she adores. Max is a lovable but highly energetic German Shepherd. Recently, Lisa asked me if she could bring Max to my wedding. She argued that he was part of her family and she couldn't imagine leaving him alone all day. She wants him to be a part of our special day. I love Max and understand her attachment, but I was hesitant. I explained that our venue doesn't allow pets and it's a formal event. We have a lot of guests who might not be comfortable around dogs, and I don't want any potential disruptions during the ceremony or reception. Lisa got upset and accused me of being inconsiderate. She said she'd keep Max on a leash and ensure he doesn't bother anyone. I insisted that we follow the venue's rules, but Lisa won't drop it. Now she's threatening not to attend the wedding because Max can't be there. Am I the idiot for telling my friend she can't bring a dog to my wedding, even though it means she might not attend? Good grief, not the idiot. If she doesn't attend, she doesn't attend. That's on her. This is a completely inappropriate request. Max is a pet, not a service animal. She must make arrangements by leaving him with a friend, family member, or boarding facility. Give her a gift card for a local therapist. Lisa needs help. Does Mr. Wiggles get a seat at the table for the reception? Who sits on Mr. Wiggles's other side? I hope they have a good conversation with him. Jumping Jesus on a pogo stick, what the heck has gotten into people? Who the heck brings a dog to a wedding? Boy, if she's incapable of being away from him for a day, she needs to get mental health help. That is an entirely unreasonable request. I have never heard of a guest bringing a dog to a wedding, especially a formal indoor ceremony. There are lots of members of her family. Should all of them be included? My sister is my best friend and I'm very close to her, but that doesn't mean I get to bring her to everything, LOL. If she doesn't go to your wedding, that's on her. My sister Jane is a single mother to her autistic son James. James was having a hard time at his school. His school district is severely underfunded and they do not give a crap. The schools where I live are pretty nice, and my neighbours who have kids said they have a lot of great programs for kids like him. Since I had extra room, I decided to offer to let Jane and James move in with me so he could go to school here. Since he started, he's been doing great here. The teachers and aides are much more engaged than at his old school. They've been helping him work through some of his behaviours as well. My other sister Leah is being weird about it though. The school that James attends has better teachers and aides and has a lot of other activities and resources, and in general is just a lot nicer. Leah and her family live in the same town that Jane and James used to live in, so her kids go to the underfunded school. Now she wants to send her kids to school here too. However, they're not taking any out-of-town students. So Leah wants to use my address to send her kids to school here. From what I've seen online, it looks like it can be considered fraud to do that. It's a fairly tight-knit community. People would figure out what we were doing and that they don't live here. So I don't want to take the risk. Besides, Leah's kids aren't having trouble in school. Their school may not be the best, but they're doing okay. Still, Leah thinks it's unfair I won't help her kids get out of the crappy school by using my address when I've let Jane and James move in so that he can go to school here. Not the idiot. There are ways to enrich children's education development that don't involve fraud. Your sister needs to look into that. It's great of you to provide your nephew with special needs resources he really needed. You've shown kindness and support within your means. and it's okay to set boundaries to ensure the well-being of all involved. Jane and James moved in with you so he can legitimately attend school in your district. No fraud involved. Is it fair of Leah to pressure you to commit fraud, aka helping out, so you have to lie and cheat to be fair to her kids? This is a false equivalency. Leah can get better school for her kids like Jane did. Move into the district. It's fraud, and the last thing you want is to be held liable for your sister doing something shady. I highly suggest that if your sister is talking to you by phone over this, you text her your refusal to allow her to do this, and you keep a copy of that on the cloud so that you have proof that you said no to her suggestion. I'm telling you this because, as much as I know you might not want to think this, your sister sounds like the type who would go ahead and use your address anyway. She sounds like the type who would falsify a utility bill or whatever to show residency there.